Hello everyone, and welcome to Capture Motivation. Prime Minister James Marape recently testified in the National Court in Waigani as a state witness in the trial involving former Deputy Finance Secretary Jacob Yafi. Yafi is facing allegations of his involvement in the unauthorized payment of 41.8 million kina to Paul Paraka Lawyers between 2012 and 2013. Marape, who served as finance minister during that time, has consistently maintained that he never authorized these payments and that they were explicitly disapproved by both himself and the then Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. Marape testified that both he and O'Neill had issued clear instructions to stop the payments to Paraka Lawyers. However, despite these instructions, the payments continued, and Marape was not informed of the payments until after they were made. Key points from Marape's testimony. Verbal instructions. Marape revealed that he had given verbal instructions to Yafi and the late Stephen Gibson, the then finance secretary, to stop payments to Paraka Lawyers. He stressed that verbal instructions were as binding as written ones, particularly in the urgent context of managing financial transactions. Surprise over payments. Marape expressed surprise that a 14 million kina payment was made on November 1, 2012, despite his instructions to halt all payments. Furthermore, there were 3 subsequent payments totaling 41.8 million kina, made in direct defiance of the finance minister's orders. Inconsistent actions by subordinates. Marape's testimony indicates that both Yafi and Gibson failed to follow lawful instructions. He even noted that these officials were later suspended for disregarding his directives. Yafi's defense. Yafi's lawyer, Edward Sissingian, challenged Marape's testimony by claiming that no evidence was presented proving Marape's instructions to Yafi and Gibson. The only documented evidence was Marape's side note on Paraka's letter, which was a directive to review and settle the claims. However, Marape defended his position, emphasizing that he had given clear verbal instructions to stop the payments. Accountability and transparency. Marape also clarified that his statements had been submitted to police investigators back in 2013, and both Yafi and Gibson's statements corroborated his claims that the instructions to halt payments had been issued. When questioned about a NEC decision that may have also put a stop to payments, Marape could not recall any such directive, stating that his memory failed him regarding this matter at the time. This case sheds light on the deeply entrenched issue of corruption and mismanagement in Papua New Guinea's government institutions. The allegations that millions of kina were misappropriated, despite clear instructions to halt the payments to Paraka Lawyers, highlight the disregard for accountability at the highest levels of government. It is troubling to see that such a significant financial decision, which could have been directed towards the development of the country, such as building infrastructure, supporting health systems, and educating the future generation, was instead diverted into questionable legal fees. The public's trust in the government's ability to manage public funds is increasingly at risk. The ongoing trial also underscores the importance of leadership and transparency in maintaining the integrity of public office. Marape's testimony, particularly his insistence on verbal instructions being as valid as written ones, points to a possible cultural or procedural gap in communication that allowed this massive financial discrepancy to occur. This trial represents a pivotal moment for Papua New Guinea, a chance to reflect on the values of integrity, accountability, and transparency in governance. The people of this nation deserve leaders who uphold the law, who prioritize the development of the country over personal or political gain, and who are held accountable for their actions. To the people of PNG, we must not allow these incidents of corruption and mismanagement to define us. We have the strength, the resources, and the resilience to rise above this. It's time for change. Change in how we demand leadership, how we support transparent governance, and how we build a future rooted in fairness and equity. Let this trial be a reminder that no one is above the law, and that the fight against corruption will not be silenced. Keep pushing for justice, stay informed, and most importantly, continue to hold your leaders accountable. Papua New Guinea. It's time to hold the corrupt accountable and rebuild the trust between the people and their government. We deserve better.